Courageous love now. Courageous love now. Courageous love now. Courageous love now. I feel many things right now. It is my first time sitting here with you, beautiful people who decide to tap into this channel and hear what little old me has to say. I'm sitting on the side of the 15, having passed through Utah, Arizona, and now about to enter Nevada. The sun has just set. And I'm sitting in my car, reflecting that this is the moment now to start this podcast. I've been thinking about it for months. I have had little droplets, downloads, total kicks in the butt that this is what I needed to do. And it's thanks to all of the amazing podcasts I've been listening to over the course of the summer and the fall of this year here, 2020. And today, Friday, the 11th of December, 2020, at 5:42 p.m., I launch my podcast, Courageous Love Now. I'm Courageous Lara, and that word courageous came to me about 3 years ago when I was traveling on a tour with a rock band throughout America, and I was actually in Nashville, and I went to a monument where the word courageous and a placard was set around our forefathers and what they went through to build the foundation of this country, at least one little part of it. And at that time I was going through some big life shifts. I had just passed through the worst of my dark night of the soul, I would call it. And I was realigning and etch-a-sketching somewhat everything that I had understood to be my truth at that time, and coming back to me. So courage was the word that resonated what I stood for, what I needed, what I had to focus on in order to pass through that period of my life. And it is only a few years ago, and I still resonate so strongly with that word. And ironically, the year 2020 has cracked open a whole new meaning to what it is to be courageous. I was visiting my biological father and stepmother in Slovenia in March of this year, when the journey of, as we know, called the pandemic launched. And I knew going there that I was going for 3 weeks into the mountains, into nature, into family, roots, triggers, healing. And I set off on that trip with courage, with wanting to be closer to my heart and wanting to be truly present with my father that's deteriorating with dementia and Parkinson's. And in the midst of this very powerful trip, at my own journey and healing process, this pandemic launches. And something awoken in me that shook me to the core. And I knew I was seeking for it. I was speaking to my higher guides, my higher self, opening myself to new thought ideas, trains of thought, trying to access new areas of my mind, which is something I have done throughout many journeys in my lifetime. And this one launched it. So here we find ourselves through the course of March, April, May. I went down numerous rabbit holes to try to further understand what I was feeling intuitively. And now some of them were disinformation, some of them were information that resonated, some of them were filled with information that ignited fear in me. And that was my journey, that was my path. But what I discovered was a place that led me to a breakup with the other side of my family. After riots happened in my city, only a block away from my house, feeling absolute and utter volatility in the energetic atmosphere and feeling trapped and unable to resist it. I wanted to run away. I wanted to get out of my body. I wanted to escape the reality that I was living and witnessing around me. And as a daughter of alcoholics, dysfunctional upbringings, abuse, I have a codependent streak in me that most certainly knows how to escape my body. And I've been good at that. I've been good to spiritualize a lot of what I feel because I feel so much. I'm an empath. And in those weeks preceding and of the riots and the chaos in my city called Los Angeles, I dug into something even deeper. And I feel like this journey of finding my courageous love now has always been really what I've been about. Love has been my truth. Courage has led me all around the world. And being present has been something that I knew was my biggest teacher. So arriving at even those three words in the context of what I wanted to bring through this podcast has always been there. But here I am in a whole new dimension of my being, crackling at the core with everything that was hitting it from the outside, like I was under complete attack. And I went into kind of a PTSD state numerous times, shut down, completely numb. I went into moments of rage that I had never seen myself in. And in that spectrum, I kept trying to come back to me. Where are you? Where are you? And I remember going out in my backyard and lying down on the earth when there were helicopters flying over my house the week of the riots, and just listening to Mother Earth and trying to feel, just really trying to open myself. And I had this vision of this warrior goddess coming through the earth and up into my body and standing me up, because my body was trembling, like out of shock of what I had lived that day and that week. And I knew it was the beginning of something new for me. And it was me drawing a line in the sand and saying, no, I take my power back. And I've heard this term over the course of this year numerous times about owning and taking back my sovereignty. Our country taking back its sovereignty. People taking back their sovereignty. What does that mean to me? And it is saying that I am my own person and no one is going to tell me how, what I think, how, or what I should do with my body and my energy and my thoughts. And having had a couple of decades going through belief systems that I was completely indulged and wrapped in, I realized in 2017 when I came across that statue that had Courageous written on it. It was my journey from then to take back my sovereignty, from giving my light my energy, my force in this universe to those that don't deserve it. Because I know that my mission here is to bring love, to bring courage right here in the now. So moving through this summer, weeks later in Europe, and dealing with the whole transition of each country living their own way of this pandemic, and at the time feeling as though I was quite free, and at the same listening to all these podcasts and being so inspired and ignited by all these people sharing their purpose, sharing this truth, this like interconnectivity between minds that are rising up. Some call it the woke people, the awakened, the souls that decided to come here to support the awakening of humanity. And I feel like I've known that for many, many years. And I got, in the last week that I was there, about a 6-week journey, I was sitting with a meditation I had done online, and I kept coming back to the heart. Because in all of these polar opposite narratives that were going on all channels of communication and information, I could feel myself being swayed, and I kept asking myself to say, come on, come back to your center. You're getting pulled this way, you're getting pulled that way. And at the same time, it was igniting inspiration and connectivity and motivation and wanting to be a part, wanting to share. I kept hearing, and what was screaming at me in different podcasts or YouTube videos or online or books or whatever it was this realignment with the heart energy and the coherence of my energy in amongst this chaos. And I understood that right now in humanity, on this planet, it takes so much courage to love ourselves inside and out, to truly understand what that is, to dive deep into self-love, to have the courage to love those that are slightly different than us, whether it's an opinion, a culture, a language, a taste in food or style or music, to love and accept those that are deeply different than us, those that are even evil. And that word I say, even funny that I use that word, because it's a word that I have never resonated with. Good, bad, evil, etc. And what I mean is those that are resonating in a way to be service to self human beings, not service to others. Those that are for destroying, not uplifting. And to find the courage to love and emanate love towards those people, not as though you're giving your energy away, but having compassion, having empathy for their journey, because every one of us has a journey. Every one of us has a story. And even those that were born and raised in satanic cults and at 4 years old were doing horrific things and were trained to be psychopaths, they receive my love. Even they receive my love, that they can heal and see the light of love in themselves. And having the courage to be present with the awareness that all these levels and layers of beings and energies exist simultaneously right here in this world, in this paradigm, in this timeline and narrative that we are living as a collective. Each one of us is branching off in our own little neuronal interconnectivity. It's just like a brain working as it's making connections, firing and wiring neurons that are coming together. The synapses are blasting open new pathways of thought. And if that thought is so powerful, it will resonate further synapses to create a dirt road, and then a little 1-lane road, and then it's a 2-lane road, and soon it's a 4-lane highway, because that powerful thought is elevating, is illuminating light, intelligence, and truth inside the mind. And that is happening right now as a collective on the planet. And if we can be present with that, we can find the courage to love. Because love, as I understand it, is in the connectivity of oneness, the infinite, the universal consciousness that is Mother Nature, that is life itself, that is the electromagnetic fields, that is every layer of energy, matter, working together in this harmonious dance we call life. And where there is life, there is intelligence. Even in the life of a flower, there is an intelligence. There's a code, a genetic code that has intelligence in it. It's not conscious intelligence, but there is an intelligence in it. And that intelligence is light. That intelligence is love. And the more that I practice looking inwards and listening and reflecting on the biomechanical, fascinating, magnificent flesh suit that I wear that is lit up with electricity and that helps me to animate and be all that I am. I'm a tool. I'm a little radio signal sending my open channel platform out there in order to receive information and to share it. I'm an artist. I'm a creator. I'm a poet. I'm a dancer. I'm a writer. I'm a musician. I'm a human. I'm an activist. I'm a humanitarian. I'm a dreamer. I have hope. And that to me is the one thing that is needed desperately right now, is hope. There are so many people leaving this earth right now because they cannot handle the energy and the light that's coming through. And the light that is coming through is illuminating the darkness. And we have been so unaware that that darkness, that shadow self, and that is in each one of us, because there is a shadow self in each one of us. And in order to look at our darkness, we have to shine light on it. And that light is so powerful, collectively, individually, that it's literally taking some of us out. Now, I know a big part of that is also the narratives, the lockdowns, the pandemic, etc. I won't even go down that pathway. But staying in what is true to my heart, what is true to my journey, when I reflect and look back at my soul's purpose throughout my life, the path and the lives I have lived. I have recently said to some friends, when I was a kid, one of the things I said to my mom was, I want to live many lives because I don't think I'll have enough years in my lifetime to do all the things that I want to do. And then now, looking back at the journey of my path through this life, I feel like I have literally lived many lives. I've lived on numerous continents, spoke different languages, had different careers. I walked and talked and dressed and acted completely different in each one of them, even though the essence of what I am has always been there. I'm still me through all of them, but as an actress and a creator and a storyteller, I've got to live all these personalities, all these personas, and bring my light and my love through them. And that hope that I spoke of a moment ago has been there always. No matter where I was on the planet, no matter who I was communicating with, the strongest aspect of who I have always been has been one that was hopeful, positive, shining light and love into this world. So as I sit, when this download came of Courageous Love Now, and start a podcast and talk to the world about your journey, because each one of the voices I have listened to, whether it's been YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Parler, MeWe, podcasts, or just friends, each one of the collectives that are awakening right now has deeply and profoundly touched me and has inspired me to find my voice, to sit down in this car on this sunset on the side of the highway and speak to you and share with you so that I might inspire the courage and the love and the presence of the now to arise in you. Because it deeply, deeply takes courage to find your voice. And that helps me to segue into an aspect that I wanted to share was I have always been someone who wanted harmony around me. Harmony in the chaos of my family. I was always the one staying calm, calming everyone down after their big blowouts, and creating and trying to create harmony in all the relationships throughout my life. But what I started to understand in more recent years, as I healed a lot of the wounds of my childhood with relationships with my father and my mother, still working on those, by the way, was that this relationship to my purpose and this relationship to the young girl that ran out and climbed up a tree when there was too much chaos and talked to God or Jesus or whoever was in the sky willing to listen. My goal was harmony, and my escape was my spirituality and my unity with that which was unseen. I didn't know what to call it, and I've called it many things throughout my life. But going back to... Sorry, and I just lost my train of thought. Give me a second. Going back to being a codependent child. That's right. Being someone that has always wanted to help others to feel better. So that's the healer in me. That's also the artist in me. And I've webbed in and out of those lives of being a artist and a healer throughout my journey. And at the same time, I still carried along an aspect of codependency and also seeking and needing the approval of others and needing love. Wanting that love and that praise from others because I didn't get it in the way that I needed it from both of my biological parents. I don't blame them for it. They did the best that they could. But in recognizing that now, in the journeys that I have been on and how I responded to others, being on stage, needing the affirmation from others that I was okay, that I was doing good. And we all need compliments. We all need assurance. But as I grew into my adult life, and as I don't need the approval of others, I'm liberating myself to create space to truly have the voice that has been inside me all along and has been activated in sharing, in loving, in harmonizing everything around me as the best that I could in order to serve. But now I'm doing it without needing the approval or the feedback of others. And in this moment of speaking into a microphone, knowing that I won't know who is listening to my voice, but knowing that there is an audience out there just like me, resonating and seeking to find like minds, to hear words, little gems of truths, little synchronicities, little coincidences of maybe one sentence in this podcast can change something in you and ignite something in you. That is the most important thing. I don't need feedback or comments on what you think of what my life is, what I'm sharing, because it is who I am and it is my purpose to sit here and share with you. I'm a communicator. I'm an elevator. I'm a motivator. I'm full of love for humanity, for life itself. And I was thinking an hour or so ago as I was driving on the highway and reflecting about what I wanted to share in this podcast, I was thinking about the mentors throughout my life and moments in my life that impacted me so much because I resonated with somebody. And I have to say, they were the rebels. It was Jesus. It was Buddha. It was Martin Luther King. It was Joan of Arc. It was movie characters that played the role of a truth seeker that got shut down or arrested or pulled away. I was thinking of a scene from Close Encounters of the Third Kind when the two leads find each other in the state where the giant mountain is, the Devil's Peak, and they get a car and they are about to drive out and everyone's being evacuated because the air is bad. And I've been thinking a lot about that because of everything that we're going through right now and how I'm responding to that. But how they questioned everything because they were so driven to their vision, to their truth, and fulfilling that at every cost. And yeah, some people think that that's sociopathic, to leave your family, to leave everything to follow your mission. And I understand that because I've had that feeling and sense throughout my life. I also come from a very rebellious father who I think gave me some inclination of what it was to be that type of person. And I do take after him in many ways. But my point is, using these inspirations of storytelling, whether it be the biblical stories, spiritual stories, cinematic stories of people's lives and what it is to follow your truth, and the adversity that comes with following your truth and standing for freedom, standing for love. Because the courage it takes to stand behind that conviction, it's astronomical. And as we're understanding more right now in this quantum universe, the levels and the layers of energy that are propelling down onto our planet from every direction, the light, the intelligence, the beauty, it is the most exciting time to be alive in the history of humanity. And I'm deeply, deeply moved to sit here before you and share my journey, to drop in and be as authentic as I can from my truth, from my story, from my journey, and from my soul. And what is that? the soul. I'm still understanding and peeling off the layers after I'd had a lot of dogma and paradigms behind what I thought it was, to what I'm starting to authentically peel back the onion and understand what that is. And I do know and always have known that I am an old soul. I don't know where, I've never had a download as to where I come from, but I've been able to travel this planet and walk into so many different situations and feel like I knew exactly what was going on. And that is such a gift. I'm so grateful. And I know that I came here for the purpose of sharing this with humanity. Sharing my voice, my art, my verb, my movement. Everything that I am is to be of service to the elevation of others' minds and hearts. The expansion of human consciousness is my most passionate pursuit. So, courageous, love, now. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to stand on the earth and look out into the unknown and have absolute conviction of courage to walk forth into the darkness and know that you are full of light? What is it to fully know the expansion and the magnitude and the vibration of the heart, the intelligence of the heart, of love? Love is a conscious act, and it's one that you can start with right now. Wrap your arms across your chest, hold your heart in your hands, and say, I love you. Because by starting with loving yourselves, you can love profoundly every and anyone you choose, at the individual or the collective. Loving your enemies at a distance. Loving those outside this planet. No matter how dark they are. You don't need to give them your energy and your light, but you will shine your light on them so that they know that they cannot have what you have. They cannot smother you with their darkness because you are just too bright. Now, the here and now. Where are you right now? Feel it. Feel it in every cell of your body. Feel it with all your senses. Feel the present moment. Now. These now moments that are passing, and we're living all these powerful energies that are passing through our being, our mind. The emotion body is on a roller coaster right now, and wow, it's a lot. But in listening and feeling to all of those that I have in the past 8 months, and resonating with what speaks to my higher power, to my higher self, is be present with what is, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and come back to your courage and come back to love. No matter how bad it feels, no matter how bad it gets around you, come back to love. Return to love now. Courageous love now. Beautiful people. Thank you. Wow, I did it. My first podcast. Let's see how it all turns out after some editing. I hope it connected together in my flow. I hope you rode this little journey with me. I'm sure it'll evolve as everything does. But I'm so happy that I just finished sharing with all of you what has been in my heart and in my mind for months. Cheers to more. I will be inviting beautiful people of all kinds to open the discussion of courageous love now. And I invite you to reflect on it and open that discussion with people around you. Peace and love to all of you as you find your courage to move through this earthly filter that feels bombarding from time to time, and quite often nowadays. I will see you very soon. This is Courageous Lara. Over and out. Bye-bye. Hello, all you beautiful listeners. It is that time for a little shameless self-promotion. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would be so grateful if you could subscribe and rate and possibly review down below. So whatever your podcast listening app is, there is usually an area where you can leave a review of what you thought. Even just a few words can make a huge difference. And as I am new to podcasting, it will make even a bigger difference to just get the word out there and also see what you thought. Thanks so much for your support, and keep on listening.